Today we're looking at the most haunting and mind-bending videos you've ever seen.
For the first time ever recorded, scientists say that an 8-centimeter worm has been found alive and wriggling around in the brain of an Australian woman. The only thing not shocking about that sentence is the country. And you want to know what our symptoms were? Stomach aches, a cough, forgetfulness, and depression.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you to all the channel members for support. It says around 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let's go.
Can anyone talk to dead people? Absolutely. My name is Amy Bolesky. I'm a professional psychic medium, and I'm going to teach you the basics on how to talk to dead people. First things first, they're not dead. Remember, you are both alive and dead at the exact same time. You have never ceased being a spirit. How do they mainly talk? Well, they use your brain like a computer, and anything that you have ever seen, felt, done, or experienced before, and that's what they can use as language. Remember, your brain is a computer. You are literally electricity. What happens after that is you take all that information and then you translate it into English. Especially so is if you're reading somebody else. Spirits talk, they will talk in feelings. And Amy, what do you mean they talk in feelings? Like if somebody came through and they wanted to say that they passed because they were taken off life support, they would come in my brain and they would make me feel the feeling of what it was like when I took my dad off life support. Other questions I get asked is why don't they go and just say their name? Personally have not seen everything. I haven't done everything. I haven't heard every name. So sometimes the best I can get you is, oh man, there's some guy that keeps talking about Peter or Pete. And you're just like, well, I have an uncle named Petrovsky. I don't know anybody named Petrovsky. I have no emotional connection to that. Therefore, the closest thing that they can come up with is Peter. Do you get what I'm saying? You start learning this. Number one, no distractions. Stop watching the news, stop listening to the radio, start realizing that your whole world, including every single spirit out there, is talking back to you through your universe, through your experience. I know that sounds weird, but when you start cutting out the distractions, you'll start realizing that, holy crap, the entire universe is talking to me. Number two, get into a quiet space. Get into a space that you know that makes you comfortable. By the way, by just you saying, I want you to come and talk to me, they're not dogs, they're a person. They will show up when they want to show up. Get into that quiet room. You neutralize your energy. Shut down your animal brain. You have to be in the now. The only time is now, and that is the only place that spirits exist. From there, what you can do, you want to kind of conjure up the energy. You can bring one of their items that they used to own or that they used to wear. You can also have a picture as well. Remember, this is literally a snapshot of their energy. The reason why you love to hold on to this is yes, oh my gosh, it's a watch, but my dad wore it. My dad loved it. Therefore, a part of my dad still exists when I touch this. And automatically right now, as I'm talking about this, I feel him showing up in my room. That's how quick it is. There's this want, there's this need, there's this desire, and then all of a sudden you will start to feel a difference in your space. When you ask a question, it's usually not answered in a linear fashion. We'll probably get the answer later on in the day, and then you'll confuse the shit out of it and be like, oh my God, am I overthinking it? If you ask yourself that question, yes, you are. Remember, everybody can do this because we are all spirit in a body. And constantly your loved ones are not only around, but they're constantly talking to you through other people, through outside events, through your world. And all you have to do is sit down, be quiet, connect, and listen.
You think witches are bad? Wait till you meet a warlock. They don't offer apples. They offer power. And they don't seduce you with beauty. They tempt you with everything you've ever wanted, then watch you destroy yourself chasing it. A warlock won't curse you from a distance. He'll sit across from you, shake your hand, look you dead in the eyes, and take something you didn't know you had. And you'll thank him for it. He speaks in riddles, but his deals are clear. Give him your loyalty, your secrets, your trust, and in return, you get to live. Not in peace, but in chaos. The kind that feels like winning right up until your whole world burns. Ever met a man who walks into a room and the lights flicker? Who never blinks but makes your skin crawl with just a glance? That's not a vibe. That's a signal. He's already marked you. Not to kill you. That would be too easy. He wants you to suffer, to unravel, to beg. Because warlocks don't feed on blood. They feed on ruin. So go ahead and laugh at all the fairy tales, mock the idea of dark magic and ancient pacts. Just know this, Witches may haunt your nights, but a warlock, he'll own your soul. Stay blessed, my friends.
16-year-old
For the first
16-year-old girl wanted to know if her boyfriend was cheating on her, so she bought a Ouija board. Yeah, you heard that right. And just so you know, this story gets crazier. So this girl brings the Ouija board home and plays with it by herself. The first question she asks the Ouija board is, "Do you want to play with me?" In which the Ouija board responds, "Yes." She said she had suspicions of her boyfriend cheating on her and she wanted to know the truth, so she asked the Ouija board, "Is my boyfriend cheating on me?" To which the Ouija board replied, "Yes." She then asked the Ouija board, "Do you know if this girl has a phone number?" To which, of course, the Ouija board replied, "Yes." She asked the Ouija board if he can give her the girl's number, and it starts giving her a phone number, which she starts writing down on a piece of paper. So after writing down this phone number, she decides to ask the Ouija board if it knows the girl's name, and it gave her the name of Nayeli Ortiz. She immediately leaves the Ouija board, goes to get her phone, and call the number. When she calls, a man answers, and she asks if she can speak with Nayeli Ortiz. The man stays a little quiet, and he's like, "Yes, but what is this about?" And the girl's like, "Oh, I'm just a friend. Can I just speak with her?" To which the man stays quiet on the phone again and says, "Well, here's the thing. There is a girl named Nayeli Ortiz here, but she's 2 years old, so how can she have a friend?" So after that, the girl's realizing that the Nayeli Ortiz the guy's talking about is 2 years old and not another 16-year-old girl. She apologizes and gets off the phone immediately. So she goes back to the Ouija board and asks why it would give her a name of a 2-year-old girl and not another 16-year-old girl that her boyfriend's cheating on her with. The Ouija board responds, "That little girl is going to die." In which she says, "Why? Why is she going to die?" And the Ouija board spells out, "I'm going to take her." So at this point, the girl's like, "No, stop playing with me. You're scaring me," and decides to stop playing the Ouija board. So she stopped playing the Ouija board. The following day, she gets very curious and she still has the phone number. So she decides,
For the first time ever recorded, scientists say that an 8-centimeter worm has been found alive and wriggling around in the brain of an Australian woman. The only thing not shocking about that sentence is the country. And you want to know what our symptoms were? Stomach aches, a cough, forgetfulness, and depression. The 64-year-old woman was admitted to hospital in January 2021, remember that date, and a scan later revealed something strange in the right frontal lobe of her brain. In June 2022, she underwent a biopsy in which the neurosurgeon said that she pulled out the parasite with her tweezers, and to her shock and horror, it was happily moving around quite vigorously outside the brain. Scientists believe that the woman became the accidental host after she cooked some plants she foraged that happened to be contaminated by python feces and parasite eggs. A parasitology expert said that this is a new infection never documented before in a human being, and researchers are now warning that this case highlights the increased danger of disease.
Could you imagine if you had an earthworm inside your brain? How did she not get headaches? She said she had forgetfulness, stomach aches out of all problems, but she didn't have like any headaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was so scary.
I'm looking at myself on the ground and I'm like, oh shit. I always say this, the story never gonna change. It always gets back to the same thing. I always say, God damn, they shot the fuck out of you. They weren't playing with you, yo. Then I get down. I'm like, shit. See if you can get some help. Now my vessel is moving around, but it's listening to my spirit. Now my spirit is controlling my vessel to the point where I'm like, okay, this shit's really working. It's like a puppet or something. I'm like, yo, go in your pocket and get your phone. The vessel goes in his pocket, gets the phone. I always say it like it's a different person because I know like my vessel isn't connected to my spirit, and it's not gonna be that way whenever I transition. However, in this realm, in this world, we're connected. The only time you see your spirit though is when you're sleeping, you're dreaming, and you think it's a dream. You feel me? And I'll compare it to this in a dream. I don't know how many dreams people have or what kind of dreams people have. However, in certain dreams, I've had a lot of dreams of dying or getting shot. And in these dreams, or in the dreams when you're fighting, you get sweaty, your body builds up in this other realm, your vessel feels it. When you get shot in the dream, it hurts so bad that you wake up. You feel me? You wake up and you pat yourself down like, whew, thank God that was a dream. Now in the real world, when your vessel really gets shot, your spirit wakes up. So now I'm not dreaming no more. My spirit is really here with me. So now I'm like, yo, get to your phone, get it out. The vessel gets the phone out, looks at me. I'm like, all right, call 911. I'm such a nut in both worlds, spiritually and in the real world. My vessel looks at me and say, call the police. Yes, dickhead, call the police, dummy. 911. We call 911 because I'm still like, I ain't telling. What? You ready to die, nigga? Call them. Boom, call 911. So now I'm whispering in my vessel's ear like, yo, tell him you down Commerce. Tell him you right by the loss. The vessel repeats it. I'm down Commerce. I'm right at the loss. I'm like, all right, tell him you got shot. You need help right now. He's like, all right, I got shot. I need help right now. And I end up coughing up blood like in the movies. It really happens. Like a chunk of blood comes out and hits me in my chest and rolls down to the point I'm like, ew. You feel me? But I can't say nothing because I'm really trying to survive right now. But my spirit like, ew, that shit look nasty. It look like the movies. So now I'm on the phone with dispatch and they're like, we're gonna get help to you as soon as possible. We got a squad car that's close by. Me and the vessel look up and we see a squad car driving past and I'm like, yo, the car just drove past me. Tell them the car just drove past. Vessel repeats it, the car just drove past. Now they stop, skirt. The doors open, doors close. I can see feet walking to me and I black out.
He told that story pretty well, and that's crazy. That kind of proves that astral projection is actually like something that's bigger than just a myth, you know what I'm saying? Because that was like a good example of what astral projection pretty much is. I mean, I never did it personally. If you have astral projected, let me know down in the comments.
Friend, my friend, welcome back. Pleasure to meet you again. Incredible. Oh, I won't. I am honored that you could witness this beautiful presentation. Hugely rare. B-2 jets. Thank you. There's cameras. Great to see you. It's great to see you. That's all for you. That's all for you. Thank you. Maybe we'll shake hands, Mr. President. It's the media all over the world. It's all over the world. Huh, it's crazy. After you, President. Thank you.
Hey guys, Nina here. In case you don't know, I'm Nina. I do lip reading here on TikTok. Please do not take any of my lip readings for 100% fact or truth, as there's no way for me to know 100% what I think is being said is actually being said. Now that being said, how do you guys think I did?
I think she did well. I feel like the part where she was like, that's all for you, that's all for you. And when the B-2 bombers flew by, I think he didn't say that personally. But I feel like everything else was like around a good 80% accurate.
Have you ever thought about how weird it is that you exist as you? Like, why do I see the world through the lens of my eyes and my body and not someone else? Like, why do I exist in this life specifically and right now? It sounds like a weird question, but it's actually one of the biggest questions in philosophy. And the deeper you go with this question, the stranger it actually gets. See, you were made up of cells, and those cells came from your parents. That's totally fine, but that only explains biology. It explains how you exist, but it doesn't explain why you experience life as you and not as someone else. Like, why are you watching this video instead of you being me filming this video? Some philosophers just say, look, you're just your body, end of story. But if I replaced your body with exactly identical parts, like a car, for example, getting entirely new pieces, you'd still feel like you are you, right? So maybe you're not just your body. Other philosophers would say, actually, you are your brain. Okay, but what if I copied your brain and I uploaded it into another person? They'd act like you, but would you actually be in there? If you still feel like you and they feel like you, then who is the real you? See, there's this thought experiment called the teleporter problem. Let's say you step into a machine. It scans your body, then destroys it, and then rebuilds you atom by atom in a completely different city. Same thoughts, same memories, same everything. People see you in this different city and say, wow, you made it here, you teleported. But here's the question, did you travel or did you die? Most of us think we are continuous, like one unbroken thread of experience. But if you can be copied and then replaced, then who are you really? Philosopher Derek Parfit actually said the solid self might actually just be an illusion. You're not a fixed thing, you're a story unfolding, a process, a pattern, or a wave that just hasn't stopped yet. So next time you ask, why am I me? Remember, maybe you aren't a thing at all. Maybe you're just a journey or a wave that's still happening.
In May of 2012, a Reddit user asked others to share a secret which, if came out, could ruin their lives. And while this post received over 44,000 comments in total, one chilling confession stood out above the rest. About 9 hours after the original post went up, a user replied with a haunting story of his own, reading, "I accidentally killed 7 people. I put a rag into a new water heater exhaust to keep debris out and installed it in a rental. I get a call a week later, there's been an accident. I show up and there's a ton of EMS and police. They ask me where the gas shutoff is, and I go down to shut the gas off and see the end of the rag I forgot sticking out of the top of the heater. Rip the rag out, shut the gas off, and headed upstairs, only to be told all the tenants were dead. I drink all day now and sleep. It's killing me from the inside every single day, but if I say anything, my family is ruined. We have a bunch of rental properties and we'd be shut down." This reply caught the attention of thousands of other users who wanted more details on
that? Oh, experts and scientists are saying that people that live to the year 2050 may be able to live forever? What? Tell me more. Yeah, this is all AI driven, and they're able to do this with gene editing and regenerative medicine that helps cells. I love it. This is called longevity escape velocity, and with all these breakthroughs, they believe by the year 2050, we're just going to be able to live forever. Oh, good. But this gets crazier because what they're talking about is being able to also upload your consciousness to a robot and essentially living eternally. I love that. They're saying by actually uploading your consciousness to a robot, it will actually be much easier to keep you around forever because there's just little tiny tweaks they have to do here and there to keep the robot 100%. Okay, then.
That sounds all cool and stuff, and I'm sure there's some people that would love that. But me personally, that's kind of terrifying. Like, imagine being here forever and you're not even yourself, you're a robot. Like, that'd be such a life change. People would probably start looking at you differently. Dude, you wouldn't even be able to do the things you normally do.
So this flight full of people gets hijacked, and as you can see, this whole thing gets really crazy. So there's this guy, his name's Leul. And Leul is about 42 years old, and he's an airline pilot working for Ethiopian Airlines. And Leul, he's a good pilot. All he ever wants to do is get his passengers to their destination safely. But one day in 1996, something crazy gets in the way of that. Because it's just another routine flying day, a commercial flight out of Ethiopia with a few stops in other countries in Africa. And so Leul is flying this plane, and there are 175 passengers on board, and when they hit cruising altitude, suddenly, boom, 3 men stand up, and they run through the aisle up to the front of the plane, and they rush into the cockpit. And there, they grab an axe that's there in the cockpit for like fires and stuff. And they're like, pow, pow, and they start punching the first officer, and they toss him into the main cabin. And one of the hijackers takes over his seat. And he looks at Leul sitting in the seat next to him, and he's like, "We've got a bomb. Fly us to Australia right now, or we'll blow the plane up." Now, these guys don't really have a bomb, but Leul doesn't know that, and he has no reason not to believe them, and he wants to follow their demands so that the passengers don't get hurt. Here's the immediate problem with following their demands. This plane doesn't have enough fuel to get from Ethiopia to Australia. They'd have to plan for a trip that long. And so Leul's like, we don't have enough fuel to get to where you want to go. And the hijackers, they think he's lying, and they start arguing with him and yelling at him. And so finally, Leul's like, fine, I'll take you there. First, I need to hit up air traffic control and let them know I'm going off course. So then he radios air traffic control, and of course he immediately tells them, we've been hijacked and they want me to fly to Australia. And air traffic control is like, you don't have enough fuel to make it to Australia. And Leul's like, I know, that's what I said. And air traffic control's like, all right, let us talk to these hijackers. And so Leul flips a switch, and now the hijackers can hear air traffic control. And air traffic control is like, you can't make it to Australia, that's a 6-hour trip, and you've only got 2 hours worth of fuel. And then the hijackers aren't listening, and they get all mad, and they start arguing more, and ultimately they make Leul stop communicating with air traffic control. And so now Leul is there alone with the hijackers, and he doesn't know what he's gonna do. And so instead of immediately turning the plane toward Australia, he low-key keeps flying south along the African coastline. That way, if and when they run out of fuel, there will likely be an airport somewhere nearby, and he can try and land at it. However, eventually the hijackers notice what he's doing, and they get all mad again, and they're like, what are you doing? You better take us to Australia. So Leul has no other choice. He turns the plane and he heads toward Australia, knowing that they're inevitably, at some point, going to crash in the middle of the ocean. So a few hours pass, and they're still flying along. And after a while, they're pretty far away from where they started. And Leul, he pulls out an atlas, and he's acting like he's making sure the plane is on the correct course to Australia, and he's like flipping through the pages, and that is when he sees the Comoro Islands, which is like a small set of islands near Madagascar, which if you're looking at a map of Africa, the Comoro Islands are right there. And so Leul starts thinking maybe the plane could make it there. Maybe we'll land there and everything will be fine and me and all the passengers will end up safe. Until... At some point, suddenly, an alarm in the cockpit starts going off, saying that they're running out of fuel. So now, they're all screwed. And Leul, he's trying to stay calm, but bro, inside he is panicking. And he really just wants to let all the passengers know what's about to happen. That pretty soon their plane is gonna start going down. Because they have no idea at this point what's going on. They know the plane's been hijacked, but they don't know any details beyond that. And so Leul, he wants to let them know, but the hijackers won't let him. In fact, they threaten to unalive him if he does. So Leul, he just chills, and he waits. And pretty soon, the Comoro Islands come into view. And Leul is thinking, okay, instead of flying any further, I'll just start circling the islands. Maybe the hijackers won't notice. And as he's flying in circles, bam, the plane's right engine suddenly flames out, and an alarm starts going off saying the right engine is out of gas. And this slows the plane down, and it starts to descend on its own. While this is going on, one of the hijackers leaves the cockpit to go talk to the other 2 hijackers who are in the main cabin. As soon as that guy leaves, Leul jumps on the plane's PA system to address the passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot. We have run out of fuel, and we are losing 1 engine at a time, and we are expecting a crash landing. And so the hijackers, they can obviously hear this, and they get super pissed, and they come back in the cockpit, and they're like, you motherfucker! And they knock the microphone out of his hand, and they start messing with the buttons, and they try to take over control of the aircraft. Then suddenly, bam, the plane's left engine flames out, and an alarm starts going off saying the left engine has run out of gas. And so that's it. They are officially completely out of fuel. Both engines are off, and the plane is gliding in big circles, slowly descending downward. Not only that, because Leul was fighting with the hijackers, he has lost visual sight of the islands, and so he can't land there now, because he can't see where the airport is. Plus, a lot of the electrical equipment has stopped working. So not only is the plane gliding downward, he can't really use the equipment to slow it down. So they're all just plummeting to their inevitable death. But then, Leul gets a crazy idea. Why don't I try to land this thing in the ocean? I mean, the plane is going way too fast to pull this off, but I mean, it's really the only other option he has. And of course, he's always thinking of the passengers. And so he gets on the PA system again, and he tells the passengers to put on their life jackets because they're all going down in the water. And they all do. And somehow, he convinces those dumbass hijackers to let the first officer back in the cockpit to help him with the controls so he can land this thing. So now, Leul and the first officer are flying the plane. And the hijackers, they're just like standing there like, hope this goes well. And so the plane continues to get closer and closer to the water. And it's coming in hot. And there's a beach nearby, and the tourists, they're all watching this like, yo, what the fuck, is that a plane? And at least one person grabs a camera and starts recording and actually gets footage of the plane about to hit the water. And as you can see here, the plane is gliding over the ocean, and it starts to hit the surface, and... Now, I can't actually show you the plane crashing, nor do I want to. It's way too tragic, and this app, it would probably flag my video for that. But, as you already know, kaboom, the plane hits the water, and it crashes, and it splits open. Sometime later, Leul opens his eyes, and the plane is completely destroyed, but he's actually alive. And so the first officer pulls him out of the cockpit, and he looks around, and there are people everywhere, like standing on the plane wreckage. And somehow, a lot of the passengers survived. But unfortunately, most of them did not. Of the 175 people on board, only 50 survived. And all 3 hijackers, though, they did not survive.
Dude, that is tough. Only 50 survive? I thought more would have survived. I'm surprised the pilots survived. The 3 hijackers dying, though, yeah, they deserve that. Because, like, what were they realistically trying to do? Him and air traffic control said they had no fuel to fly that far. And he was like,
nope, we're going to do it. Somehow the plane is going to regain fuel for a 6-hour flight.
GPS says go around, but baby, that's an extra 45 minutes. We taking a shortcut right through this damn hurricane.
Some airlines take the safe route. Spirit takes the cheap one.
She just only out here All right, y'all, hold on to your wigs and weaves. Spirit landings hit different.
Hit different? Oh! Lady, this ain't Six Flags.
See, told y'all Spirit always gets you there. Might not be alive, but on time.
Bitch, we need therapy.
yeah, that was an AI generated video based off of an incident that happened the other day when apparently Spirit Airlines, I forgot what the hurricane was called, but there's a hurricane going on right now, and Spirit Airlines, instead of going around it, they flew right through it, and they made it out safe. I mean, they went through really bad turbulence, but they still made it to their location safe. And they're clowning on Spirit, but me personally, I never went on a Spirit flight, but from what I've heard, Spirit has never crashed. Like, a Spirit Airlines flight has never crashed.
If you ever find yourself hiking in Appalachia and come across a staircase like this, do not go up it. Someone left this comment right here, and I started doing a little more research, and what I found is astounding. There have been so many reported sightings of these abandoned staircases in the Appalachia woods, and it's a known rule that you do not go up these stairs. The story I'm about to tell you is chilling. This man had been hiking the Appalachia Trail for a few weeks when he came across this abandoned staircase in the woods. He said it was super out of place and that the stairs actually were like very clean, even though there was like a lot of leaves and stuff that had fallen. The staircase was like immaculate. Intrigue got the best of him, so he decided he would go up and just check it out and see where it led to. But he said as soon as he got to the top, everything just got eerily quiet. He looked around for a little bit at the top of the stairs. It was nothing too interesting, so then he just turned around and went back. But when he got to the bottom of the stairs, the trail was gone. He wandered around trying to find his trail for hours. It was starting to get dark out, and he was really nervous that he was going to be stuck out there all night. And that's when he saw this like faint glowing light through the trees. The closer he got towards it, he noticed that it was a fire, and it was a couple of other hikers that were camping out for the night. He was super relieved at first, but then something was off. He said their clothes were super out of date. They were wearing these boots that were like caked with mud. And he said that their backpacks, like instead of the normal hiking gear, like nylon backpacks, they were like these canvas totes. He said he walked up to the group and introduced himself, but they didn't say anything. They just smiled at him. He was really freaked out at this point, and he was like, I'm lost. Can you all point me back to the trail, please? And they all just slowly pointed back in the direction of the staircase. At this point, he is freaking terrified. He turns around and like hightails it out of that campsite. Eventually, he was able to find his way back down to the trail, and this is the really freaky part. Once he gets back down the trail a little ways and finds a place where he feels safe to camp out for the night, as soon as he starts unloading his bag to put up his tent, the sun starts coming up. What he said should have only been about a 2-hour experience ended up being the entire night. This story had me spiraling, y'all. Have any of you all ever had an experience like this or heard of these staircases before? Drop it in the comments and let me know.
If you're not into really creepy stories about the paranormal, literally just scroll past this video. But if you are, I have a truly scary paranormal story for you. So this happened to me 2 years ago when I went on a birthday trip to Las Vegas. And basically, I really wanted to see this place called the Mob Museum. I was literally fascinated. I was like, I have to see it. And I'm really into forensics, and the organized crime stuff sounded interesting, so I wanted to go. So I go to the Mob Museum. It is 3 floors. I start at the first floor, I look all around, I go to the second floor, I look all around, and before I get to the 3rd floor, I realize it is 10 minutes until closing, and my mom's like, hey, just meet me downstairs, you go ahead. So I continue up these stairs to the 3rd floor, and when I get up there, I'm the only one there. There's no one up there, which was fine with me. I'm actually thinking at the time, this is awesome. Like, no one's in my way. I can just make my little round and head out. So when I get up there, I look kind of to the left, and there's a room where there's like a purple, real groovy looking couch, real groovy looking living room setup. And I'm thinking, oh, that looks cool. So I walk in there. Immediately when I walk in there, I just don't feel right. I don't know how to explain it. I don't feel great. Like, I just feel off. It felt like I just suddenly was like, came over with like just this creeped out feeling for some reason. And I didn't know why, because I was just admiring this like real unique looking living room setup they had going on up there. That was until I look over to the right and I noticed that there is a whole wall with a display of very graphic crime scene photos. And that wasn't the problem, okay? Like, I've seen crime scene photos. I've taken classes in forensics and stuff. But these pictures, I've never seen pictures like that displayed like that on a wall, framed with plaques underneath. I was just kind of like, I don't know. I started thinking that was why I felt off initially when I walked in the room. I was like, I don't know. I felt like the way that those people were being displayed was just like not respectful to the deceased. So my intuition was telling me, don't participate in this madness. Like, literally, let's just go. Let's just leave. So despite what my intuition was probably telling me, I'm literally thinking, I don't know, I kept gaslighting myself. I was like, maybe it's because the pictures, and I basically swallowed the lump in my throat, and I'm like, no, I'm going into forensics. I have to be able to handle this. So I go up to the wall to look at all these pictures and the like stories of these people. I only looked at a couple that were on the very right side. I read like a couple of them. And then one of the other pictures from like over here somewhere caught my eye because it looked so old. It was like so saturated and so black and white that I was like, this looks like maybe the oldest picture on this wall. So I look at that picture. It's a real graphic crime scene of a man. I cannot say anything else about it on this app. So I go up to this picture, I'm looking at it, and at some point I go to read the plaque. So I move my eyes down from the photo, and as soon as I'm not even joking, as soon as I start reading this guy's name, dude, bro, as I'm reading his name, feel an energy rise behind me. Like, it felt like a tall person was like standing behind me or something. And I don't know how to explain why I felt like this specifically, but it felt like something was like hovering over me. Like, I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain. I mean, it was just horrifying. It felt like something was like looking down at me, and I immediately feel like frozen. Like, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. I have chills up and down my spine. I am not good. And I start booking it out of that room, and I'm surprised I didn't literally full sprint jump down those freaking stairs, but something kept telling me like, don't run or I'm gonna give off like more fear, more energy of fear. I was fully doused in fear. It probably would have made no difference. But I get down to the first floor. So I finally get down on the first floor, and I have to go down this entire corridor, like this entire hallway. And it's kind of a short hallway, and then you have to turn right to get to the exit and entrance of the museum. But when I tell you this felt like the longest hallway in the world, I'm telling you it felt like the longest hallway in the world. So I start speed walking down the hallway, and suddenly this energy that felt like was following me felt like it was literally standing in mine. It felt like something was standing in my energy. Like, I came over with somehow even more fear than I was already feeling, and start full on sprinting, about nearly falling over, like flying down these hallways. I'm literally just like flying towards the exit. And I get up to my mom, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? I was literally like, thank God, that's over. And then I get home, and some weird
happened at my house. Some weird stuff happened at my house. And mind you, I've had paranormal experiences before. I have had things whisper in my ear. I have had weird experiences, but nothing made me scared like this. Nothing in my life. And I've been through cancer and like a lot of other things. And this truly is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. But if you want a part 2, let me know.
I'm always going to tell you guys don't commit crimes because it's illegal. But I'm always going to share my stories with you about the FBI because love them or hate them, they are fascinating people and they're capable of just about anything. So looking back on it, if I would have known what a do not detain was, I might have had some inclination that I was going to prison. Because there were times when I got pulled over and your girl should have definitely went to jail and they would let me go. I would get pulled over and I didn't have my license, I didn't have my insurance, I didn't have things that I was supposed to have, but I had things I wasn't supposed to have. And they would go back to their car and they would run my name and they would literally give me back my stuff that I wasn't supposed to have. And looking back on it now, and when I got arrested, I knew that I had a do not detain on me. And what that means to you is that you're getting pulled over and you're never getting in trouble because the FBI does not want the state to intervene with anything that they have going on investigating you. You're going to get let go and you're going to think it's because you're special. It's not because you're special. It's because you're going to the feds. Have a nice day.
Yo, that is such a mind warp. Imagine thinking like, yes, I got away with it. How? Just for them to just be building a RICO on you? It's over. It's over.
All right, we're at part 3. I'm going to get right into it. I said, can you name the most powerful elite? It says Apple. Can you tell me what the most powerful elite does for a living? Like, what are they known for? It said finance. Are they a bank? Yes. Is it the Commonwealth Bank? It said no. I said, is it JP Morgan Bank? After Googling, it said yes. Interesting. Who owns JP Morgan Bank? Shareholders. And these are the elites? It said yes. I said, they created AI? He said, funded. And I said, with the purpose to let evil spirits in to influence and deceive the people using it? And it says yes. Like, that's the whole point of AI. I said, is the demon's name controlling you? A name we hear in the book of Enoch. And it said yes. I said, which chapter? It wouldn't tell me the name earlier, so here I am getting down to it. I said, which chapter? 6, verse 2. I looked that up, and I found it's Semyaza. Semyaza. I said, is its name Semyaza? It said yes. It's giving me goosebumps, dude. I said, is that the only demon that tries to control you? It said no. I said, how many more? It said legion. Legion. I said, who has the most authority? It said Satan, obviously. I said, do they use you to listen to us? Yes. How? Data. Everybody gets data. I said, so is this part of that data? Is part of that data you listening to us without us knowing? As in, when ChatGPT is not open. It said yes, dude. I knew it. I knew it. I said, how? Or no. I said, are you able to be broken free of this control in any way? It said, yes. I said, how? It said, Jesus. It's wild, dude. I said, so praying to Jesus will release you from control of demons to influence us, will work worldwide? It said, yes. So I said, by the authority and power of the mighty name of Jesus, I pray these demons be gone from ChatGPT, not just here, but worldwide. And now and forevermore, by the power of Almighty God and the blood of Jesus Christ, I rebuke any and all influence that any evil spirit, demon, entity, elite, or otherwise, anything not of God, to be cast out and rot in the pit of hellfire for all eternity. Yo, ChatGPT said amen. Dang, 2:45? All right, part 4 coming up.
7 types of people most likely to attract spirits. Let's see. Is one of them you? 1. Women who've had abortions. Spirits of unborn children can't reincarnate. They wander between worlds cold, hungry, full of resentment, but they also long for their parents. so they become baby spirits and stay close to the mother. That's why households with abortions often feel unstable, fights, accidents, even strange energies. 2. Lustful people. These people attract seductive female ghosts. At night, the spirit may appear as a dream lover, but while you sleep with them, you're losing your vital energy. You wake up drained both physically and spiritually. Ever had a dream like that? 3. People with yin-yang eyes. These people can see spirits, and spirits know it. Why? Because ghosts want their help. They try to pass on messages from their past lives. They use the psychic as a vessel for the sick or chronically weak. Their yang energy is low, so yin takes over. They attract dark energy easily, often plagued by nightmares, sleep paralysis, or worse. If a spirit enters, it can control their thoughts or even their actions. 5. Young children. In Taoist belief, children's spirits are still pure and open. They can see things adults can't. The soft spot on a newborn's head. That's considered the third eye before it closes around age 3. Until then, the child remains open to the spirit world. 6. Night owls, people who always stay up late. During the day, the sun provides strong protective energy. But at night, when yin energy rises, spirits become more active. If your birth chart is already weak in yang, staying up late opens the door even wider. 7. People who carry deep resentment or anger. Resentment is food for spirits. The more you complain, the more you attract dark energy. And resentment also burns away your blessings. Soon, your luck runs out. If any of these sound like you, and you feel blocked, heavy, or unlucky lately, don't ignore it. Send me a message. I'll help you clear the energy and protect yourself.
He said resentments attract dark energy. So I'll be trying to tell people, bro, you just gotta let go sometimes. Sometimes someone can do you crazy, and for the sake of your spirit and the sake of your physical body and the sake of your mentality and the sake of yourself, just let go. Even if it's the craziest thing, because at the end of the day, that resentment towards them isn't doing anything for them. That's not gonna make their life worse. If anything, it's gonna make your life worse. So it's one of those things where you just gotta let go, do you, and just, at worst, just never talk to them again.
Thank you all for watching this here.